Welcome back guys to the tutorial on C++ programming language, and today we're going to talk about variables. What are variables and how many different type of variables are there in C++ and how do we use them. So let's just quickly move on and let's just understand what our variables are. So what are variables? Variables are actually elements which stores information. Not only they store information, but the information, the values, they can be changed, modified, and manipulate during the course of a program. What I mean by that is very easy. For example, if I say here a is a variable, right? A is a variable, but is a something this is int, which means it's an integer variable, right? It's written int in the front of a, hence it's an integer variable. What does integer variable store? Is basically it stores integer values like 12, 56, 190, or minus of 67, or minus of 325, something like that. Every integer values, they do have a limits, but we don't need to talk about them right now. We will talk about that later. But just understand this: a is a variable, and a is a variable of integer, and it stores the integer variable, right? So there is another variable like s, right? S is a variable of string. What does string stores? Similarly, s is a variable like a, but it's data type. These are known as data types, right? Integer or string, like that. And the data type of s variable is a string. Now what does string contains? You can store a single character in a string, or a word in a string, right? Or you can store different just words, sorry, you can just store any words or numbers into this, and anything between these quotation marks is basically a value of that string, and it can be manipulated similarly, but it cannot be manipulated as similarly as a is done. For example, a is 100, right? You can multiply this, and you can give the value as 400, but you cannot multiply this by something. So their manipulation is different, right? Why do we need to manipulate? We will talk about that later. But at this point, just understand string is basically a word or a character or a letter without spaces. Once the space comes, that is the point where the string ends. Okay, string, so you get that a is a variable of integer and stores the integer variables. S is a variable of string and stores the string or the words or the characters. Okay, but there is another variable, another data type, that is character. And if I say its variable as c, okay, now what does this contain? This contains just exactly one character, be it a, be it r, or be it 6, right? 6 is a character, you know that, right? 6 is a number, but in a ASCII value this is a character. Okay, similarly, a is a character, r is a character, 6 is a one character. So char, the variable c of data type char stores just one character, but string on the other hand can store one character or can store a complete word, right? So this is the third variable which is used in C++. Another one is double, right? This just like integer, this also stores the numerical values, but integer doesn't stores decimal numbers, right? But double do. For example, it can store 100 decimal 67, or minus 765.56, like this. These decimal numbers are stored into the double. So this is another there is one more variable which has a data type float, right? Float is similar to double, which can store these decimal numbers or the real numbers, but the difference between float and double is basically the decimal places. Actually, what does that mean? Float can save the decimal places up to 2 places, and double can store that values up to 8 decimal places. Okay, another one last variable which is rarely used, but it is a variable, so let's just talk about it. And its name is Boolean, and it is stored as bool. It has just 2 values, one or it has just one, or another value that is stored is 0, right? 1 is a true value and 0 is a false value. Why this happens? Okay, it just has 2 values, Boolean values, that is true or false. This is true and this is false. So this is about variables, and just to show you how this works, let me quickly show you. If we create an integer value int a, okay, and let's just initialize this over here. What I'm doing is just initializing the value of integer a as 13, right? And I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna say I have nothing here, and give a gap, and then I put a pen. Okay, very simple. Not here. Okay, you can see this. The value of integer is 13 over here. It is printing I have quotation marks goes, then printing a. The value of a is 13, so it will print 13, right? It says I have 13 pen. Let me just remove these and just show you what does it does. C out a, we are just C outing a, and you can see this outputting a, and the value of a is 13, hence it prints 30. Let's just make it 1300 and just quickly build and run this, and you can see this, the value of a is printed as 1300. Okay, similarly, if I make it, I told you it just have integer values. If I say dot 56, okay, making it a boolean, double, okay, and build and run this quickly, you can see this, it just prints 1300. Dot 56 is not printed because it's an integer value. Okay, another variable is a string. If I say s, and I say s is hello, right, and I see out s, simple as that. If I build and run this, it says hello over here, but if I put world over here and I print this, it says hello world. Very simple. Okay, this is a string. Similarly, if I put a double over here and I say it is 56.67, no, sorry, d is equal to the variable d of data type boolean has a value of 56.67, and if I see out d over here, so let's just quickly do this, and you can see this 56.67. okay, so you can store the different values into different create different variables and store different values and print them, and just go around, have fun with these variables. So that is all about variables. We will talk other topics into the next tutorial. Well, thanks for viewing. Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much.